So from the old sales perspective, like the old school days, this basically is saying, so we basically put the person into the car, right? Or bought the puppy dog, the puppy dog's home now, all right? The puppy dog's home. But what we've done is we've taken these marginally ethical tools and we just flipped everything to be 100% ethical. So the person tells us everything that they want us to do. So now it's, okay, now what am I going to do? Okay, I'm your dentist. What the heck do you really want me to do? How often do you want me to take your x-rays? Well, I don't know. How often should I have them done? Do you want me to tell you? Never answer the question. Get permission. Okay, do you want me to tell you? Yes.
Hey everybody, I'm Ken Newhouse, and I'm going to welcome you to the Get Clients Now podcast, the show where high-growth consultants and professionals come to access the newest and most effective methods and systems for online marketing, advanced sales and persuasive communication strategies, and automated marketing funnels. And if you're wondering if the Get Clients Now podcast can help you get more high-value clients, enjoy more sales, build a massive tribe, and make more money, you're absolutely going to love this show.
Newhouse's work completely blows everything else that we've ever done with Google out of the water.
I have been looking for a way to grow my presence online, and what I've viewed from Newhouse's work was something that certainly is faster than anything I've seen before.
He says he's going to do something and he does it. He does it in the time frame that he says he's going to do it in. It's exciting when you talk about the results that you're going to get, and you can believe his word because he follows it up with action.
The Newhouse is direct, he's to the point, he tells you what's on his mind, and he backs his words up. From what I know now, from working with him, he's passionate about his work, and he backs it up 100%.
What I like best is you offer something that no one else has out there, which is a pretty comprehensive approach about marketing a system.
If somebody asks me, should they use Newhouse's team? Absolutely, because you're going to get the important information that you need very, very quickly.
On the internet, on the different marketing techniques, I've never experienced anything like this.
I would definitely recommend Ken Newhouse for someone who's serious about growing their business. I think that your results based on the numbers would at least double the sales in a very short time frame.
Hey everybody, Ken Newhouse here from kennewhouse.com, and I want to welcome you back to the Get Clients Now podcast, where the one-size-fits-all marketing model is dumb, the client-centric business model is king, and top business owners share strategies that have helped their brand gain acceptance, achieve significance, and win in the marketplace so you can build your tribe with certainty. I want to remind you that MailChimp is now supporting the Get Clients Now podcast. With MailChimp, you'll find all your marketing needs in one place. Bring your audience data, marketing channels, and insights together so you can reach your goals faster. With MailChimp, you can promote your business across email, social, landing pages, postcards, and more, all from a single platform. Today is episode number 343 of the Get Clients Now podcast, and I hope you're ready for round 2 with Dr. Kevin Hogan, one of the world's leading experts in persuasion and body language, and he's going to be sharing with us at least a half dozen or more, like he did on the last episode, methods that get you clients, as he continues to reveal the most effective, most powerful persuasion strategies he's discovered over the last 12 months. Now, mind you, Dr. Hogan is one of the world's leading authorities in ethical persuasion, as I just mentioned, as we talked about on the last episode. But over the last 12 months, Dr. Hogan's made some of his most amazing discoveries in the field of ethical persuasion that he's ever made before. Now, on today's episode, the second half of the 2-part series that I've done with him, he's going to reveal several of the strategies that he taught in front of an audience of over 4,000 people in Santiago, Chile. It's actually where we just did the interview. And the title of that presentation was The One Persuasion Strategy That Never Fails. And if you're like me, and if you're like my most successful clients and members, you're always on the lookout for methods to get you clients. And I promise you, I guarantee you that you are going to be absolutely thrilled and delighted with what you learn in part 2 of this interview with Dr. Kevin Hogan. Listen, as I mentioned on the last episode, I've been a student of Tony Robbins, Dan Kennedy, Bob Cialdini, and just about every top-rated marketing and copywriting expert you can think of or name. And the reason I've done this, the reason that I've actually studied and trained with these individuals, some I haven't even mentioned, is because it is important to be able to share with you methods to get you clients. And one of the methods that get you clients is being able to ethically persuade your prospects, whether it's prospective clients, prospective customers, or prospective new patients. You have to be able to ethically persuade them in order to get them to buy what you're selling, and ultimately, so you can serve them. You know, I think it's fair to say that more now than at any time in our history, people are skeptical. People in the marketplace are skeptical, and for good reason. And as a direct result of their skepticism, of the uncertainty that exists within the marketplace, people are looking for shortcuts to help them make decisions. And ethical persuasion is based on knowing how to leverage the shortcuts that people are using to make those decisions. But don't just take my word for it. Listen to what Dr. Cialdini has to say on the subject.
Researchers have been studying the factors that influence us to say yes to the requests of others for over 60 years. And there can be no doubt that there's a science to how we are persuaded. And a lot of this science is surprising. When making a decision, it would be nice to think that people consider all the available information in order to guide their thinking. But the reality is very often different. In the increasingly overloaded lives we lead, more than ever, we need shortcuts or rules of thumb to guide our decision-making.
But when it comes to persuasion, when it comes to ethical persuasion and being able to get people to take the action you want, specifically in a business setting, Dr. Hogan is head and shoulders above the rest. And I say that even in light of someone like Dr. Bob Cialdini. Now, one of the benefits for me is that Dr. Hogan was literally the first person that I came across in the field of persuasion. So I've known him for a very, very long time. And I can tell you from personal experience that the things I've learned from him and his trainings have literally helped to make me hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars that I wouldn't have otherwise normally made, maybe even over $1 million. I can't say for sure, but I can say this for certain. When I first started using his stuff, I was in practice, and it made a dramatic, tremendous, and immediate difference in the amount of money that I was able to make, as well as my associate doctors were able to make in the satellite clinics that I had at that time. So not only is what Dr. Hogan teaches very, very effective, it is completely and utterly relevant today, probably more relevant today than it was when I first started to utilize it, because we didn't have the internet then. People were not as skeptical then as they are today. And so what he's teaching you, what you're going to learn today, is incredibly powerful, it's very relevant, and it just might be more effective than any persuasion strategy you've ever seen or come across. And with that, let's go ahead and dive back into part 2 of the interview that I recently did with Dr. Kevin Hogan on the topic of ethical persuasion, so you can use this method to attract highly targeted prospects and get them to buy your stuff easily and effortlessly. And remember, when you can do that, you can accelerate brand acceptance, skyrocket marketplace significance and status, and build your tribe with certainty. All right, if you're ready, let's roll. So can I ask you just a quick segue question in there real quick, and then I want to keep you on track. So if we're digging about what's not going well for them, we want to maybe start with that, but we want to end on the note, if we're in this sequence, of what's going right for them so that they don't enter into the next phase of questioning or interaction with us with a negative mindset? Or
yeah, I really like to have as much, just like you're an interviewer and your job is to keep me straight and on track. As a person who, my job is to get audiences to all at the same time, like figure out the same end result at the same time. All right.
It's like juggling cats, I'm sure.
Correct. Correct. So now it's like, okay, because I have to hit basically everybody's button as I'm saying, you probably think, you probably have considered, you probably looked at this, you probably thought about this, you probably worry about this. Like I tell everybody, let me guess, you worry about the way that you're going to change how money is going to come into your life next year, because it's going to be different than it was this year. Every single person knows this is a fact. It's just a fact. That's how life is. You're probably concerned about the health of someone in your family. Who is that person? For example, I'll ask the person to think from the front of the stage. You can ask this audience this question. Somebody's always sick in our family. Somebody's always unhealthy. Somebody's always in the hospital. Somebody always is going to run through challenges. And if we realize these are the human condition issues, then we never run over and we never forget about empathy. We never forget about the fact that, you know what, we're all going through stuff today. We're all going through hard times. It's like, we want to show the person, make sure they get that we understand, we love them, we care about them. And we want to show, like, I get what you're experiencing. I know that you're going through pain. I lost somebody I loved yesterday. Actually, a good friend of my mom's died today. It's like, and wonderful person. Thank you. And Janine was wonderful. God bless her. And she'll now get up there. So, and, but it was tough to hear that, but it's like that story is in my family today. It's like, it's all around. And it's really important that we all get like that people are going through challenges, pains. And when they see that, when they understand that we really get it, they change how they listen to us. Now they like, oh, you understand that somebody cared, like that Kevin actually cares about this. So there's things that people experience that are common. So I'd like to start on disadvantages. What's problematic right now? What's problematic? By the way, it just says my internet connection is unstable. I'm really glad that it doesn't have something that refers to mental state. That's fine. Just so you guys know out there.
It doesn't say that on my end, so you're good.
Now, so yes, I like to start out in the negative and then in the positive. And here's the thing. In any persuasion communication, we don't want to just talk about positive rah-rah things, nor do we want to just touch on fear and pain. We want to give people a movie. We know factually from research, tons of research, if you ask people questions and ask them to share their movie with you, their wins, their losses, their fears, their triumphs, this is what causes people to connect with us. We actually connect really well with people that we have a little like, doggone it, I love Kev, but boy, he can be irritating when he talks about that. That's my client for life. That's my client for life, because I didn't just like pretend that everything was perfect. So number 2, after we've talked about the disadvantages and some pessimism about the status quo, like what's going to happen? Like if we don't make any changes today, what's going to go wrong? Like if you don't go back to the dentist next week or next month or next year or 2 years from now, what's generally going to happen to those people? How challenging is it going to be? Okay, you don't have to go, but if you don't go, what happens? Okay, it's kind of going to suck. It's like, the teeth are going to look bad and we're going to have, all kinds of root issues and crown. Oh my God, it's going to suck. So we want to have people tell us like the pessimism. What happens if we keep doing the status quo stuff? Next, and by the way, we don't have to use the word status quo with the way things are going now.
Right.
Okay. All right. Just so everybody thinks, I use the word status quo, but you don't need to. Everybody else doesn't have to. They can if it's appropriate. Okay. All right. So next up, number 2, what's the advantage of change? It's like, if you do want to take the time today and do something with me, so I'm your coach again. If you are going to use me as a coach, and if you're going to hire me for a year or 2 years or whatever the period is going to be, like, why would you do that? Why would you commit to that? What is it? Actually, in our application form for our inner circle group, we like to ask people 3 different ways at 3 different times. Why do you want to work with Kevin Hogan? Why? Like, what is the upside? What do you get out of it? How do you know? And here's the thing. I want people to convince themselves and me that it's the best thing for them. And the more that people write about, okay, so here's what Kevin Hogan can do for me, and here's what I think it's going to do for me, and here's how I feel about it. It accomplishes 2 goals. First of all, I can see the person is convinced themselves, because if I'm not convinced that they're not going to do good work and that they're going to go out and let me push them along, they're not going to be my great story for next year.
Right.
They're not going to be my rags to riches story. I want that person to be a rags to riches story. So it's like, I want them to do better. Tell me what is going to be the advantage of change. What's the advantage of working with me, of buying my product, my service, whatever it is. So that's 2. And this is super important that they do a detailed advantage. Like what else, what else, what else, what else? Okay. What else is, again, one of the great questions. What else? What else do you get out of it?
How far should we take that out? The what else? How far should we take that?
Well, it's interesting because people never give you the best reason first. They give you like reason number 17 and they're like something that's really safe. Like, so what would be an advantage working with Kevin Hogan? Well, he did okay with books and I'm writing a book, so maybe I'll do pretty well too. Okay, great. That's number 1. Okay, but it's really number 17. I want to hear something that's a little more impressive than that. I want to hear this. As soon as I hear this, if I work with Kevin, I know that he understands business because he's worked with so many different people. And I know that if he can help these people with this businesses or the government in Poland or the Catholic Church or whoever else he's actually been invited to work with who had nothing to do with him to begin with, I can't imagine that my little problem here of just my life and my family is going to be more than he can't help me with. Now I'm sold. And now when I'm sold, the chances are pretty good they'll be sold too. Right. So we've had this 2-way communication that breaks down. So as soon as you're compelled and convinced, like that's the one right there. Now I think we have each other. It's like they have me, I have them. They're my next success story. And from their perspective, I'm the person who's going to be their story. If I wouldn't have worked with Kevin Hogan, this wouldn't have happened. As soon as I know they have that story to tell, I'm good to go. And that's where I'm ready. Make sense?
Yep.
Okay. And then the third thing is advantages are not the same as optimism. Advantages are not the same as optimism. All right. Now, optimism, we just talked about pessimism, right? The pessimism of the status quo. People who are only optimistic usually end up getting hit by trains that they didn't think were going to cross the railroad tracks. They were going to cross the railroad tracks and they thought the train would stop and it didn't. So pessimism is really important. It's very important that we teach people how to be pessimistic intellectually. It's like, let's talk about those pessimistic pieces, but then we want to get to the optimistic pieces. So why do you think you can improve even though you haven't until now? Like, what have you done right? Like, what have you done right when somebody worked with you, like as a baseball coach or a football coach or a basketball coach or a swimming coach? Like, when did you do good with a coach? Well, actually, I did do pretty well with my swimming coach. Now, what did he do or she do that made you so good at swimming? How did you get to where you are? How did you get to 341 podcasts? Okay, that's the question I would ask you. It's like, how did you get to 341? Who was the person who made the difference? Because there's somebody out there that made a difference in that 341. That's a lot of podcasts. I've done podcasts with people who have done 20, 40, not many who have done 1,000, not too many. 341 is like top 5%. Okay, so why does Ken get to 341 podcasts? What is it? That story right there is compelling evidence that this mentor or this person that he sort of had in the Rolodex of his brain actually mattered. And it's like it drove a person forward. I always have a few people in my mind all the time. Elsa Eldridge, my mentor, and there's a few other people that matter in life, family and friends, that I just need to be proud of. It's like, I got it. And it's like, if everything falls apart elsewhere, if these three guys are proud of me, I'm good to go.
Yeah.
Okay. And this, whether they're people that I talk to every day in real life or once a month on the phone, or whether they're family, whoever it is, if I know that these people they really want to see me do good, they want to see us do the right thing, best thing, helping, that's where we want to get our optimism for. I'm optimistic because when I think about Elson, I just get stuff done. And I do. And I write the books and I make sure that everybody around the world reads them and understands. And then there's stories that they tell about Kevin Hogan. I love hearing gossip about me. I love it. Kev, you know what happened? I did this and it worked. I can't believe it, but I did $17,000 last week. That's more than I made last year. Stories like that.
Right.
Just makes you feel good, right? So optimism for change. So so now we know the advantages. A big deal. There's advantages to working out, right? Ooh, if you work out, you'll get stronger. You could be healthier. You could live longer. Does that mean people are going to do anything? Heck no. It doesn't mean anything. It just means they see the advantages. Okay? So to heck with the advantages. I mean, they're nice, but we've got to move on now. Like, why do you believe it can happen? Why do you believe it can happen? How do you know it will help? How do you know Kevin really can help you? Not just the advantage of working with Kevin or with Ken or with somebody else, but how do you know it's really going to happen? Like, when have you had a similar experience? And I love the similar experience because if people can sort of draw the parallels side by side, and they can see Kevin with Michael Phelps, the swimmer, or whoever the person is side by side with Kevin, they can sort of put them together and go, oh, you know what? They're kind of alike. I can see how that actually would work. Kevin can be kind of tough on people. Michael Phelps' swim coach is a really tough dude. The guy says, okay, do it again and again and again and again and again. And it's like, as soon as you're number one, you can stop, right? All right. And that's kind of like what it's like to work with me. It's a real pain in the butt. It's like, that's okay. You failed. I don't care. Go again. Carry on. Good job. Let's make a tweak here. Adjust this, adjust that, adjust this. Now go back. But Kevin, am I not a failure? No, you're not a failure. You just failed. It really doesn't matter. 341 podcasts, 10 of them were terrible. Some were, Ken.
I'm probably sure more than 10 were terrible.
24 books I can point out too, but I'm not good at it, that I wasn't very happy with. I was like, I really wrote that? I could have done better. Could have done better.
Yes.
All right. For real. But overall, pretty happy about the results because I had good mentors, which is a great thing. So that's optimism for change. That's how you want to think of it. Like, why me? Why should this person work with me? But I can't tell them. They got to tell me. Like, how do you know this is going to work? When have you had a similar experience with somebody? How is that like me? How is that connection happen? We got to tie that together. Have them tie that together for us. Don't suggest it. Let them suggest it to you. Say, why else? Why else? Why else? And as soon as the one that's like this comes up, that's where we stop. Stop on the real reason, the best reason of all. The very best reason. Finally, number 4, the fourth piece here is the intention to change. All right. Now, just think about this for a second. We've got the disadvantages of why life is not going to be so great 5 years from now if we keep doing what's going on today. Number 2, we've got the advantages of the change that we're going to do with this person, whatever the change is. Number 3, we have the optimism because working with Kevin or Ken or somebody's going to be really cool. And I like that. And they're going to be tough on me and they're going to make sure that I win the gold medal. That's good. But even so, even with all of that, if they don't have intent, it's still intellectual knowledge. It's still just intellectual knowledge. They still know that going to the dentist is logical. They still know that working with Kevin would be smart. They still know that working with Ken will make them a better coach. But here's the deal. Will they do it? And how do I know? And what can I do? So now the question is this. Now, every coach should ask this question because I ask it for every client I have, and every client will watch this, okay, that I have. So here's the thing. What do you want me to do if I work with you? What permission do I have? How hard can I push you to succeed? Now, this
That's a great question.
We have the implied relationship, right?
Yes.
So from the old sales perspective, the old school days, this basically is saying, so we basically put the person into the car, right? Or bought the puppy dog, the puppy dog's home now, all right? The puppy dog's home. But what we've done is we've taken these marginally ethical tools and we just flipped everything to be 100% ethical. So the person tells us everything that they want us to do. So now it's, okay, now what am I going to do? Okay, I'm your dentist. What the heck do you really want me to do? How often do you want me to take your x-rays? Well, I don't know. How often should I have them done? Do you want me to tell you? Never answer the question. Get permission. Okay, do you want me to tell you? Yes. Okay, well, you get them done twice a year. I don't know what the right answer is, by the way. I have no clue. I'm not a dentist. If I was, I would have the answer. But let's say it's twice a year. Okay. So here we are. So now I say twice a year. That's what is the best thing because that's how we can stop problems from happening. So you keep a full set of teeth over the course of your life. Cool. Next up, what else? What else is in there? Why else do you want to change? Why do you want this thing to happen? Why do you want to make this extra money? After all, it is just money, or is it? Or is it what does it mean to you? What is having that egg when the next bad thing happens? How can that save your family? How could that help you? And by the way, this last week, 10 years from now, so they know, we had a 10% drop, a 12% drop in the stock market last week. I'm old. I don't remember a 12% drop in the stock market in 1 week, and I've been invested since I was a kid. So what the heck? That's terrible. So if I have 12% of $100 means I have $88 left. Right. 12% of $1 million means I have 880,000 left. Wow, 880,000 means I have a little more money to make some more mistakes with. $88 left doesn't give me much room for food, right? So it's have the person continue to tell us what is their intent. Why? Why is this so important that you do this? Why are we even having this conversation? Why? Why do I know that you're going to accomplish this? What do you want me to do to push you? What do you want me to do to nudge you? How often do you want us to follow up with you? Okay, I'm a dentist. How often do you want me to follow up with you? Do you want us to write to you 4 times a year to remind you of your appointments? When we drop you a postcard in the mail, do you want us to put your name on it? Okay. Yeah, of course. Why not? Why wouldn't you? I don't know. I'm just asking. Okay, so now they've given me permission to give them the postcard. All right. So again, old school sales techniques, we turn them into 100% ethical, 100% perfect, 100% client-centered based. And now the person is telling us what they want. And by the way, when the client says, don't you dare email me, Kev, because God, that would suck, and I don't want to talk to you by email, then we don't email them, right? It's we respect whatever the client wants, and we give them 100% of what they want. Exception comes, of course. Well, because I want to be a millionaire next year. Now, I do have a story like this, a few of them actually, like Dan Young up in Alaska, who went from $60,000 to $1 million in 1 year, 1.1 million in a year. That's nice. A great story.
Yeah.
But let's be honest. Dan, God bless him, I love him, but he's not my typical story, as I tell everybody. That doesn't happen typically. It does happen, but not typically. So we got to remember that. And by the way, that's a nice little sales tool too from the old school. It's called flagging. Okay, I mentioned something. The very best. Well, that's not the very best case. That would be probably Tanya or some of the others. But when a person goes from 60,000 to $1 million, that's creating a flag, like setting a flag on the top of the world or on the moon. It's right. That's pretty cool, right? And so now the person has a flag and they can go, God, I could probably make $1 million. I will now double back and I'll say, now wait a second. Don't think that's going to happen to you this year. And of course, then they'll have to kind of sort of think about it, which is kind of cool because now the person's actually going to start pushing themselves up. God, I actually might be able to do pretty well. I could do all right. God, what happens if I do okay? What happens if I did make it? Yeah, my wife would be proud of me. My kids would be proud of me. They'd be telling everybody. We'd have a house that doesn't, the windows work. It's whatever the deal is the person's mind will start moving a little bit. And our goal is not to push. We don't need to ever push again. We do exegetical persuasion almost 100% of the time. Now, once we've got the person's intent to change, and they've given me permission to push them and to nudge them along at a pretty hard rate, I feel good, and I'll say, okay, we start now. Okay, this is the beginning of your first session. Let's go to work now, like right now. And this is where we begin. And then we set up our schedule, and we go forward into how we're going to schedule time. We schedule their time so they have their time. We tell them, if you're a dentist, it's like, okay, here's the deal. Sugar, no problem. A lot of sugar, problem. Okay, so let's just get that part set. It's like, yes, you can eat sugar. Of course you can. No, you don't want to have a lot of it because you'll pay a price. Whatever the things are, we're going to now tell them we're going to lay out their future for them.
Right.
And then we're going to have them look at that and go, tell me what on here is going to work for sure. Will this work? 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 Kev, I think it's going to go. Pretty damn sure? Pretty damn sure. Really? Like guaranteed? Like you say it? It's like this. And I always use this example. I say, if you say, honey, I'm going to the grocery store. I'm going to the grocery store. Does she say to you, oh, Ken, I really believe in you. I really know you can do it. I know you can get to the grocery store. And please remember to pick this up because I know you're the best. And you'll do it. And I know you'll succeed by getting to the grocery store. Kev, where are you going? I'm going to the gas station. I'm getting the gas. It's like, I really believe in you, Kev. I know you can do it. You can make it to the the gas station. Could be the same thing if you go to Holiday or Supermarket, right? So I know you can do it. I really believe in you. Okay. I don't ever want to hear stuff like that. I want to hear, yeah, okay, have a good day. I'll see you in an hour. Bye. That's how I know the person's ready. Yeah, I can do this. This is not hard. I had my client, George Athan. George Athan is an author in New York, one of the smartest men I've ever met in my life. This guy is smart. And he said to me one day, he says, Kevin, I could probably get somebody to ghostwrite this book for me, The Client Machine.
Right.
And I said, let me ask you a question. When somebody meets you, do you want them to meet like a guy from Kansas, or do you want them to meet like you? Kev, I want them to meet me. I go, why? He says, because I'm me. I'm the best at this. I said, then why would you hire somebody who's not the best to write your book?
Good point. Yeah, good point.
It's like you are the product, man. You are the product.
Absolutely.
Let somebody white label your book, man. It's not you. I love who you are. You are the toughest person I know in the world. You make people do stuff. It's like, you write the book. He wrote it. It's an awesome book, by the way, The Client Machine. People can buy that too. Doggone, it shows you how to get clients. It's pretty cool.
Sweet.
So this, skip a few things, guys. Remember the old days? Some of the old school stuff we found out didn't work. So skip the yes set.
Yeah, that's one of the questions I was going to ask you. You mentioned in the article that asking your prospective client or your patient or your customer, using those questions that are designed to generate the multiple sequential yeses to help you in the sales process is probably like a bad idea. Let's talk about that for a minute.
Yeah, for years, conceptually, the idea is great to have somebody sharing things that they agree with. But actually, they're only agreeing with what I'm saying. Okay? So it's sort of like being in church on Sunday or Saturday or whatever day you go to church. And I went to really conservative churches when I was a kid. So in the audience, when pastor said something, you said amen, right?
Yeah.
It said, may it be so, basically, is what the deal is, right?
I'm a devout Baptist. Well, I'm a born again Christian, but I've been going to a Baptist church for 25 years. So yeah, that's what I grew up with.
So this is great now. So here's now Seventh-day Adventist here, right? So now here's the thing. So yes, you say amen, and we give the guy affirmation, but here's the deal. We also have something called testimonials in our churches, right?
Yeah.
Not only do we say amen like we agree with you, they say, come on up and tell the story, dude. And it's like you're up there, you're like, well, here's the deal. I was reading the Bible one day, and I kind of figured out this is the right way to go. And he's like, and then what happened? And then what happened? And as soon as he knows he's got the testimonial that he needs for his people to get, Kev got it. If this poor man can get it, anybody can get it. And now, but he didn't ask me a yes set. He didn't ask me a yes set of questions. He had me tell the story.
Right.
And he said yes. He told the story, and the audience, the congregation said yes. Right?
Mm-hmm.
So conceptually, this is where I want all of the people listening to the broadcast to be. I don't want you to say, so would it be a really good idea to own a 2021 vehicle this year? Yes, I think it probably would. Would it be a good idea if that was a Lexus? Yes, it probably would. Would it be okay if it had 4 wheels on it? Yes, I think it would. Okay. There comes a point where people go, I remember, I read about this sales tactic. It's terrible. Kevin's being grotesquely, unfavorably manipulative towards me.
Yes.
Instead, I ask questions that have no leading question attached to it. Tell me the advantages of the status quo. I have no idea what's going on. Disadvantages. Where's the pessimism? Where's the optimism? Why are things going to go well? How do I actually know you're going to do this stuff? How do I know that I'm the right person? I'm asking questions that guide them to tell me, and whatever their answers are the answers. There's zero chance that they can have any more reactance or resistance to me if they tell me the whole story, and I simply go, okay, I like that. Let's do that. And let's start now. Yes? Yes. Okay, cool. That's why.
This is all internal decision. We're every bit of this, correct me if I'm yes or yes, this is, you're generating the internal decision process in your prospects with the methodology that you've created here, correct?
That's absolutely correct. It's right. Totally correct. We're taking an old idea. But we're turning it into something that's 100% ethical and something that feels right to the person. And they know it because they have no more resistance to you. They have no more reactions. That fear of manipulation is gone. And they can say anything they want. They can say any words they want, any sentences. And whatever they say is the way it's going to go. And that's what's going to happen. If they say, Kev, you can't push me that hard because my wife will kill me if I'm working 12 hours a day. Oh, okay, so 10 hours a day would be correct. Yes. Well, I'm not going to override his 12 hours a day. I will, however, talk with his wife with him on the telephone in the second appointment. I'll say, I got a question for you, for the wife. I say, what do you want to do, your husband to do for your family that's going to change your family's life? I actually talk to the wives and the husbands of the people that I coach. That is cool, because now I find out both sides of the equation, not just the man or the woman's feel of what their spouse thinks, but what the actual spouse thinks themselves and what they will do to push their spouse towards being successful, for example. So there's that too.
That's awesome. How you doing on time? You got time for some more questions or?
Let's do it.
Okay, cool. So I'm going to make sure I'm in the right sequence, but you talked about the 4 transformational messages that must be used in every successful communication. So if we didn't talk about those yet, I'd like to, if we could, and talk about why they are absolutely necessary to be successful at ethical persuasion.
So, we do have the messages, it is correct. And because we got the disadvantage of the pessimism, that's the first message they have to give us. The second one being the advantage of change.
Yes.
The third is, here's the confusion for the listener and for me, is that you think messaging, we're always like it's us going forward, us saying something, a message to the client. But really, it seriously is those messages the client is telling us, because the messages that they're telling us is precisely what we will use to have them lay out, look at the schedule, look at the life, and that's what they're going to do for us. It is so unintuitive. It is so not intuitive. It takes a few times to utilize this tool before we get great at it. But after we do, we've got it. So transformational literally means they're telling us how they're going to transform their own life. And you and I are simply approving, agreeing, and finding out what else, to make sure the whole picture of all the thing comes. We don't just have a little sketch. We don't have a filtered picture with a ET-like looking picture on Instagram or something like that. We got a real picture of what Kev's life is like and how screwed up it is and how good it is in some things and how we're going to fix it for it. But I have to have the client tell me how I'm going to fix it. What is it going to take? Those are the messages that are going to transform. They're cool. It works. This is powerful, and it's not intuitive. It'll take a few times for people to get used to it. You'll be happy, though, that you did, for sure.
This is one of the first things that I remember using that I learned from you, and you definitely didn't go into it in the kind of sophistication that you're going into it now or the depth. But one of the questions, and this was way back when I was in practice, one of the questions that I used to ask patients, and I was set up so that I could do this without fear of losing anyone, is the marketing system I had set up really put super qualified people in front of me. But one of the questions that I just love to ask was, take a minute or two and tell me why I should accept you as a patient and how you're going to benefit by being my patient. And literally, when I was terrified to try that. And when I first did it, people were trying to convince me, because I said, hey, listen, I've got a limit. I've got more people, which was true. I have more new patients coming in here than I can fit into my schedule. And that's by design. I can't accept all of you. So I need to take the people who are going to benefit the most from my care. So take a minute or two. Tell me why I should accept you as a patient. Tell me how you're going to benefit from, being under my care, how it's going to improve your life. And boy, would they come up with some just great stuff and convince, they literally were, I would watch the lights come on. They were convincing themselves that I was the best and obvious choice as their doctor. And I do that now with clients too, just like, and I want to give you credit for that because it's definitely something I learned from you a long time ago from that DVD course or actually CD course that I bought from you. Wow, that's been 20 years ago, maybe. It's been yeah, I still have it.
My favorite, some of my favorite tools are from the early days, like, Psychology of Persuasion. Simple book, just a good, simple book. If people want to start something they can breeze through, they'll highlight it a lot. It's funny, Ken. I did a gig in Wrocław, maybe 2 years ago now, almost 2 years ago. And we had about 4,000 people in the audience. And at the end, they had 250 people that wanted to come and shake hands, get autographs, right? So all these people are coming. It was really cool, very humbling. And then one guy comes up and he's got a stack of books, which are all dog-eared with Post-it notes all the way through all of them, stacked like this.
Nice.
Got his wife. And I said to everybody watching out there, we were done with the event. I'm signing autographs. The place is clearing out, but there were like 200 people waiting, to come up and talk. And I said, you know what? This is the guy who's going to be a millionaire next year. The photographer yells up at me. She says, actually, he was our top number one salesman in the company worldwide. He's more than a millionaire.
Nice. So he's actually putting rubber on the road. Yeah, he's actually putting action to it. So you got time for like 2 questions?
Absolutely.
Okay, you talked about the primary problem with the methodology or the strategy most of us are using to try to persuade other people. What is that primary problem? I think we've kind of covered it, but I want to ask it more in a direct that. You've definitely given the answer to that question already. We're trying to convince or persuade.
Yes. I think the thing of it is this. I want everybody to have like possible solutions for the client, whatever they need. They should have, it's sort of like, in disaster scenarios, somebody's got cancer. Do you want to do chemo? Do you want to do surgery? Do you want to do both? And I really think that people need to be informed of other possibilities. I think this is the one mistake we make as salespeople, as marketers, as people that are coaches, as people that are advising people on a professional level, is that sometimes our own opinion gets in the way of success. Because, yeah, I'm right most of the time, for sure. And so are you. With your patients, you're right most of the time. But at the same time, it never hurts to listen to what the patient, like what they're telling you. Because sometimes they actually give you information that's pretty helpful. Like, I did do this, I tried this, and it didn't work. And you're like, that really should have worked. Well, here's the deal. Nocebos are powerful, right? And so if the person believes that this medication, I've had people, I still work with people, psychology, right? That was the background. To this day, I still see people for psychology, maybe for therapy, 2 people a month, maybe if it's a very special case or something like that. And they will tell me something that will often surprise me. Kevin, I tried that medication, it didn't work. I'll be, well, there you go. Stuff doesn't always work the way I think it will. So what do you think will work? Well, and then they tell you, right? Now, whatever the deal is, if their genetics are wired for placebo response, positive placebo response, and that's what this comes down to is their genes, it's like, I'm going to let them try their placebo. It's like, let's integrate that into this plan. Let's do that. And so if the client has something, Kev, I really think I should be buying silver instead of gold. Kev, I should buy rhodium instead of silver. Kev, I should buy platinum. Look, it's precious metals. They've gone up. We told them a year and a half ago, this is a really good time to buy $1,200 an ounce, right? It's like, Black Swan's coming soon to a theater near us, and it did. And we're at $1,600 now. So it's a 25% increase, and it's not going to get crushed. So the deal is if they want to buy silver, let them buy silver. Okay, it's okay. It's close. If they want to take Klonopin instead of Xanax, if they want to take hydrocodone instead of whatever, if they want to use this tool instead of that tool, if it really isn't going to make that much difference, if it's likely to have, like statistically likely to have the same result, the very placebo effect, they think that it's more valuable, and the fact that they told us the stuff that didn't work, that saves us a lot of work. I'm not going to replicate what somebody else did that didn't work, right? I don't want that. So instead of just saying, and sir, this will take care of every problem you have. It slices, it dices, it does all these wonderful things, and you can drive it home today. Maybe we just ask a few more questions. values elicitation is a pretty cool thing. We know from surveys, actually the Huffington Post, I used to write for them. I was the only relatively conservative person that actually ever wrote for the Huffington Post, I think. And I really enjoyed the experience. I really did. It was great. And I learned a lot because they do good research over there at the HuffPost. And it'll drive you crazy, by the way, after a while. That's why it's past tense. But nevertheless, I did get something good out of it. And what I found is that when you ask values elicitation questions, you actually program the person's mind to believe it. So if I say to you, for example, Donald Trump said that this is blah, 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 blah. Now, everybody that reads the Huffington Post is going to hate that tomorrow morning. But if I find the same sentence and I find where Barack Obama said it, and I say, you know what Obama used to say? Blah, 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 blah. Same doggone sentence. Same sentence. Almost everyone agrees. So here's the thing. When we ask questions correctly, attributing things to the people that we know are their heroes or the people that they desperately hate, we almost guarantee the response that we need by putting the emphasis to the person who is evil or good in their mind. And that's a pretty darling little tool. By the way, that's a bonus. But people test that out and play with those things a little bit.
That's high level stuff. That's like black belt, 21st degree black belt stuff right there. That's pretty good.
Totally true.
What about the golden key? Dr. Kevin, you talked about the golden key and how a lot of times we're just trying to sell solutions or offer solutions to our clients, customers, or patients, and they want more than that. They need more than just a solution to their problem. Can you talk about that for a few minutes?
Yeah, wow. This is a forever conversation, but let's just nutshell it. The nutshell is this. People want something, right? They want to be out of pain, for example. They want to have more money so they can afford to go and take the wife to, a really fun vacation trip that you're going to take, right? So they want something. But part of the thing of my job is to make sure that they get both, two things. What do they want and what do they need? So it's sort of like dealing with kids, because all of us really are old kids, okay?
Yep.
I don't know a lot of people who say, I'll ask people all the time, the people always say, Kev, how old are you? I'm like, you wouldn't believe me if I told you. You just wouldn't believe it, okay? So I go, you'll have to Google it, all right? I go, here's the deal. I feel 17 just like I did when I was 17. It's weird and it's crazy, but that's the deal. That's what I think. And they'll go, really? You feel like you're 17? I go, yeah. I go, how old do you feel? They say he's 50 years old. He's like, well, actually, kind of the same, maybe 22. I'm like, oh, well, that's a long way from 17. Okay. So the person has feelings inside. They look at themselves very different than they look at the rest of the world. We all do. And so they often go by, that's what I need, or that's what I want. But we have to make sure that they get both. If we give them what they want, they are more likely to follow and pursue. Just giving a person what they need is not enough. If we just give a person what they need, they will quit. You need to quit smoking, okay? Well, good luck with that, okay? That's hard work, okay? Hard work. But if we give them what they want too, like, yeah, I kind of like ice cream bars once in a while. How about 3 a week? Is that okay? That's okay. I could do that. Okay. 3 a week. That's your cigarette. That's how you're going to do your cigarettes from now on. Okay. We have to give people what they want and what they need. What's something that they'll want and something that they'll need? We put the two, blend them together, and we actually solve problems because now we give the person motivation. They will actually drive forward. If we just solve the need, which is what we always think, just what they need, but that's not enough to keep the person moving forward. Do both. We have to do both.
Nice. Last question. You got time for one? It's the last question. Okay. What's the one question today that I should have asked you, but I didn't? And then we'll talk about, again, I'll just refresh everybody with your website links and things like that. But what's the one question I should have asked today that I didn't in light of our topic?
Kev, coolest tool we can use today that we can implement instantly upon going home with the wife, the family, the kids, and our office workers tomorrow.
And the answer?
Grab a stack of sticky notes. Address your wife as honey. Can we go here? Can we do this? Whatever the little one sentence message is, and then sign your initial K at the bottom. Ken, right? This is the coolest thing. Some of the best research in the last 5 years. Harvard Business Review posted in their book. This is one of the 10 chapters. I wrote a lot about this. the Post-it note maybe 4 years ago, 5 years ago.
I remember, yeah.
And it was fun, and we've had so many wonderful results in such a variety, such a broad spectrum of everything from getting people back together for reunions for veterans who of foreign wars that have post-traumatic stress disorder to get them help, to actually having families get along better, and to actually getting kids to do their projects because they hate to see the stupid purple Post-it note on the counter with their name on it. I just want dad to get rid of that and throw it away. So that's the deal. Use the Post-it note. Always put love dad or love K, that, and put the person's first name or their initial of their name if you're close enough to them, just like T or K or whatever, like that. And then 4 or 5 words, no more, 4 to 5 words. This is probably the most powerful tool you can have the most fun with. It'll drive them crazy for the rest of their life to have Post-it notes. Productivity will increase, grades will get better, the wife will be happier, the husband will be happier, especially when it says, honey, let me know what I can pick up at the grocery store.
Nice. Okay, Dr. Kevin, just real quick, tell us your website one more time.
KevinHogan.com.
And then
if they want to stop for the success algorithm and get information, KevinHogan.com/success-algorithm. And they can go and see me on Facebook, Kevin Hogan PhD, Facebook.com, Kevin Hogan PhD. That'll get you, and just friend me and say hello, and love to communicate with you.
Sweet. And then I'll make sure I put all those links in the show notes. Dr. Kevin, it was awesome. Thank you so much for doing the show.
Have a great trip, man.
I will. Hey, take care.
Our objective with this podcast is to help you and your business stand out in the marketplace by crystallizing your messaging, marketing, and communications. On behalf of the whole Ken Newhouse team, thanks for listening.